No risk, no Rizq. Get following the YouTube channel now.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Rizq Podcast. This is episode 15. On this episode, we're going to go deep into the mind of someone who is probably one of the top entrepreneurs who I know, and overall a great person as well, which is why I asked him to join us. So I'm joined here today with Aleem from Ace Car Hires, but I think Ace is just one of many different things that you're up to. So what's going on, bro? How you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
All good, man. All good. Just cracking on in coronavirus lockdown. And I think one of the reasons why I was like, you know what, I need to reach out to Aleem was because I think it was like the 4th day or the 5th day or something like that of the lockdown, and you put up a story and what I'll say, because I know that if I say this, there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna start hating on you for putting this up, but you don't generally tend to put up a lot. So when I did see it, I was a bit surprised that, you know, whoa, like big figures. But I think it was the first 4 or 5 days of the lockdown, and you put up a screenshot that you'd made over, I think, 150k just those first few days. And you know what, it was one of those things where I know many people that sell online, and I know many people that have businesses and stuff, but I think what really kind of inspired me about that post that you did was the fact that it was so evident that in a time like this, you know, in recessions or you know, this is obviously like completely different scenario, but in times like recessions or hard times like this, there's always going to be winners and there's always going to be losers. Now, the winners don't necessarily win by making others lose, but it's just the way that the world works. And I think, you know, with what you're doing as well, it was almost like the perfect industry, the perfect products to sell at a time like this. So that was just a bit of an intro for you, and we'll get deep into that. But just want to start off by just finding out a bit more about yourself, bro. You and I obviously met during the charity boxing event about 6 or 7 months ago. There was a few mutual friends, and then you know, we spent a few evenings together having dinner and shisha and stuff like that, which was cool. So one of the things I realized was there was people who were coming. Like, I remember there was one time when we were sitting there in the hotel in the lobby, and you had like Adam sitting, you know, I think me, you and Adam were sitting there talking about there were people that were coming up to you and were like, yo, are you Ace? Like, you know what I mean? And then they would turn to Adam and they were like, oh shit, Adam Saleh. Oh, okay, what's good? But they came over to see you. And you know, I was really surprised because I was like, wow, this guy's got his own following, he's got his own fan base. And I remember people telling you, like, you know, when are you putting new videos out, etc. So you know, for me, I just wanted to find out a bit more about who you are and you know what we can kind of basically learn from you and your journey. So I want to start at the top, Aleem. Where are you from? Where were you born? All that good stuff.
Okay, well, I'm based obviously in Manchester, in a not very nice area, Salford, not too far from the Trafford Centre. I was born, family's all here, mum's from here, obviously Pakistani by origin, but yeah, it's a nice mixed community, a Muslim community, obviously mixed with some English, but it's nice. It's home. Do you know what I mean? So Manchester's one of them now as well. It's quite an upcoming city now. So for what we do or what I do, it's a nice lifestyle pace vs work as well. For me, London's always been, I don't know, like too quick.
Everyone's busy for no reason, isn't it?
Everyone's too busy. Yeah. That's the thing. And every time I come to London, you ask somebody, where's this tube stop? Straight past you. Stay on the right-hand side, you know? And for me, it's like, there's no point in earning the money if you can't chill with friends and, do you know what I mean? Just have that slow pace. But yeah, I'm from Manchester.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Nice, man. You know, it's interesting because I've only come to that realization recently, actually, that, you know, obviously, you know, I've been raised down here close to London my whole life. And, you know, you think that London is the center of the world. And to a certain extent, you know, obviously a lot of money passes through London and stuff like that. But you're 100% right, man. Like, when you look at the economics of it, if you're earning like a 60, 70 grand a year salary, as an example, You know, 5 grand of that is going on just your commute. Then you're spending about 3 hours a day getting in and out of London, back into her. You know, there's no point. There's no point. You know what I mean?
Time to come home. It's just time to go sleep.
100%, man. And that's why everyone's busy, because everyone's just too tired. They're not doing nothing. They're just too tired.
They're just tired, and that's the thing. That's why they don't have that energy in them to say, hey, you know what? There's the directions to this. They're just too tired.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's the hustle of the city, isn't it? London's obviously home to a lot of headquarters around the world, so I understand it. It is what it is.
100%, man. But no, yeah, you're absolutely right. Up north is a different pace of life, and I suppose for, like you said, with what you're doing, you've got the best of both worlds. And this is the joy of the internet, is that, you know, if you're 100%. The internet is not only in London, you know what I mean? It's
whenever you are. That's the thing, because if I was to have a warehouse, for example, in London, it's going to cost me 10 times the amount when I can just ship to London for £5 next day delivery. When it just makes sense being here where we are. Mixed in with the cars that I do, and obviously my family's based here, so I'm quite family orientated, and I've got my cousins, my uncles, everyone's quite close by, and that's nice to be able to walk. I can walk from home, from my office, from home to my friends, home to my grandma's, anywhere. So it's nice to have.
So tell me about growing up in Salford, because, you know, I've met you at a point in your life where you're very well established. You know, you are building your own business, and, you know, it's already at a point where, you know, it's a very enviable stage of most businesses. Most of your competitors must absolutely hate you because of, you know, the size and the scale of your operations and what you're doing. But, you know, what was it like growing in Salford? You know, when you were growing up, you know, what were your parents doing? Were they entrepreneurs? Were they business people? You know, the family and the friends around you. And really, the reason I'm asking this question is just to paint a bit of a picture to the environment in which you grew up in, the mindset of the people around you, and whether that influenced you in any way, or it put a chip on your shoulder and then motivated you that way.
Yeah, well, to be fair, with friends-wise, I've had the same circle, probably 8 or 10 of us since children, basically. We all grew up together. We're all always that group of, you know, last minute doing anything, up for anything. And when it came to work, to be fair, it was just my friends were doing, like, paper rounds back in the day. Do you know, when you're like 14, 15 doing your paper rounds and stuff. But I had a good friend. We all did everything that we did together. My mum didn't really work back then. She did some when I was obviously born in the beginning. She had, you know, double shifts, and my dad was working double shifts. He came over from Pakistan. My mum was already born here. He started working in a restaurant. Eventually, after a few years and stuff, he opened his own
nice.
And then from there, he started. What it is, my uncle used to work for a computer factory back in the day. And I was always, you know how it is, you go, I don't know if you are, but I always used to go to my grandma's house every weekend and just stay with cousins. And he used to come back and he used to teach us about, you know, like laptops and computers. And he had like a repair center. And out of my cousins and stuff, one of my cousins was into the networking side. The other two just completely different. And then I was into the sales, like from probably year 7 is when I first started my working with him, like just for free, just going and getting, you know, a free chicken burger and chips for in a computer market. But for me, that's how it started. So in Salford, it was a rough area, quite racist back in the day. There wasn't much opportunity for anyone then. It was just takeaways, restaurants, taxi, and we could only play a few streets away from home because it was a very small Muslim community back in the day. Completely changed now since the council have started getting a lot of the, you know, people that are messing about out of the area. More people have moved in that are more connected with media and stuff like that. But when I first started, I was probably 15, 16, and I just got the love for selling stuff. You know, I just went to the computer market, and I didn't know anything back in the day. But when my uncle used to sell laptops, I came and said to him, you know, why don't we put a movie on there to show them they can watch movies? And then on another screen, I'd put up Facebook to say, look, you can do Facebook in your work. And that was my job then. Anyway, I was just helping them out. But and then I just got into it from there, to be fair.
At that point, when you were kind of just doing it for almost almost just, I mean,
to help out.
yeah, I can't. I mean, I know exactly because my dad had a shop, for example, and I'd go there on weekends and stuff, and it was just I just found it to be fun, and like you said, like, actually selling at a young age, it's a weird thing because you've got people who are like 40, 50 years old, and you're having a negotiation with them, a bit of banter with them, you know what I mean, and it gives you amazing life skills. When you were doing that, did you have aspirations of, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be a business owner, I want to be a millionaire, I want to have a life like this? Or were you just like, I'm just doing this and we'll see how it goes and I'll have my own little shop maybe?
Back then, because even when I started school in probably year 7, around about the same time in high school, me and my mate, a guy called Fozy, we started, I've always had a mind to kind of make something. Like, I don't want to just go to school. Me and him decided we'd start going to Home Bargain in the morning. I'd save up my dinner money. He'd sell his dinner ticket, and we'd put like £3 or something towards buying. There was this chewing gum back in the day, and it was like 20p for a packet, and we used to sell them for £1.
Okay.
And I promise you, by the time we walked into the school gates, it was sold out. And I think from then, every single day, we'd put that money back in, and we're selling sweets for a long time. And I think from there, I've always been into like having some money, like doing something. And then when obviously I knew my uncle was selling stuff, I went to him and said, can you give me some like MP3 players or, because do you remember back in the day, the small little MP3?
Yeah.
I think I used to get them for about £10 and sell them for £20 or something in school. I sell a few, like 1 or 2, to the guys that were in year 10 or 11. And from then, I didn't decide that I want to do this for the rest of my life, but I knew I liked doing it, if that makes sense. I liked going home, I used to go to my grand's, and he used to have all the stuff in his garage. I used to just take it. And then I remember one day, and I will quote me to this, one day he came to my house and he looked under my bed, and I had loads of MP3 players and toasters and everything. That is where it kind of started for me, because I saw my uncle. My dad was in the takeaway side then, and my uncle was in the IT side, and I just thought he was kind of actually teaching me like a lot about laptops in general, like softwares. I don't know, have you heard of Acronis?
No.
It's like a software where a common problem, a lot of people forgot their passwords, so you can just put a CD in next Acronis and it removes the password.
Okay.
I used to do that for him back in year 7 or 8, and eventually I started to like, because I was learning something and I liked it. Then I was thinking, you know what, I think I could do something like this. And then my dad also started to get into the computer business as well.
Yeah.
And he did his own side of stuff. So he kind of got some computers from my uncle, and then they would ship them to abroad, for example. And from then, I kind of got into the idea of business. So I wasn't the best in school, to be honest. I was in that low class, like the naughty class. And I was not good at maths. I was not good at anything in school apart from PE. And then I left high school. I went to college for the sake of going to college, like
because you're a brown boy.
Yeah, no, not even that. Just my friends. My friends were going to college.
Okay.
I was going to college to chill with my friends because it's like school a few days a week. And at the time of then, I was into music because that guy who I told you, Fozy, earlier, he was a singer. And I was that guy where if you want something doing, you just come to me. And he was like, listen, I'm sure you can learn how to record music. I was like, yeah, sorted. I went on YouTube, watched some videos, and then I bought some equipment and I started recording music for him.
Okay.
Some people started finding out, and I decided to open a small studio in my house.
No way.
I charged people like £2.50 an hour to come.
No, that's wicked.
And that was good. And then I dropped out of college and I joined a music school.
Okay.
I was really into setting up my own thing because I learned quite a lot of stuff working with him. And then I actually got a basement that was basically, my uncle who did the laptops, he moved out of where he was in the garage. It's like an underground basement, small. And I decided, me and all my friends, we spent a full summer clearing the place out, and we just set up a little recording studio.
Oh, sweet.
Called it Underground Studios, and I did that for 2 to 3 years. And that is where I kind of got in the business market for spending my own money, making my own money.
Right.
And artists. So back in the day, I don't know, you might not know him, but there was like Shotty Horror and, Gecko.
Yeah.
Those guys come to my studio back in the day. Nafis, Sahara, quite a lot of people. And I got to get into that. I was only 17, bear in mind, at the time. And these were like 20, 30 years old. And they were like, look, you've got that mindset on you to do a lot. And that's where it kind of started for me from year 7 to year 10.
Right, okay.
Going from selling few little sweets and that to opening an actual business. And that is where it begun, basically.
It's so interesting. The mark of so many entrepreneurs that I know is they all started on the in the playground. Like even myself, I don't know if you ever saw those, like they were like Spider-Man candy sticks. I don't know if you ever remember those.
So
there was like generic candy sticks. I used to get those and I used to shop those off. And then again, like going into like secondary school, I used to sell those laser pens. I used to get them from Pakistan for like a couple of pennies, sell them for $5. And I think it's one of those things where, as you were talking, I kind of realized this, that, people can learn entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurship is kind of born with many people. And, like yourself, you were saying, you're doing all these different things as you were going through the years. It's almost like the different levels of of where you're at and what you're selling. So when you're a kid, what's the biggest commodity is sweets. So I'm going to get sweets, I'm going to sell it. You know what I mean? And okay,
advantage of what you've got, end of the day.
Yeah.
I can't go start selling cars when I'm in year 7. But like you said about it grows in some people. For example, you've got everyone in year 7. Let's say you've got 100 kids. There's no one in my mind or my dad or mum or uncle telling me, hey, you need to go buy sweets and start selling them. It's got a click within. And some people from year 7, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a policeman. I want to an accountant. I want to do French. I want to travel. For me, I was just focused on these sweets and selling them at that time. And I liked, because I saw my dad also come from back home, and he didn't know English, and he kind of grafted, even if it's just a takeaway back in the day, but he went from nothing to something. I kind of took after him. A lot of because I always saw him doing something, like working at night in the takeaway, coming back early morning, and seeing my uncle doing his own thing. I was brought around a family that they were also wanting to, so he wasn't good at English and maths. My uncle was good at English at maths. They all tried to make something for themselves. And I think I took a bit from my uncle, a bit from my dad, and I was brought around that don't just sit down and be lazy sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Make something for yourself. And I've always known I'd do something, but I never knew what. I still don't know where I'm going to end up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's really interesting that you say that, actually, because, and obviously we'll get to the, what you're currently up to and the business that you're running at the moment. But, that's a very, very well-established business, to the point where, you're almost quite an integral part of a lot of people's supply chain. You know what I mean? So, the fact that you feel that still you don't know where you're going to kind of go in the next, 5, 10, 15, 20 years is really interesting, because a lot of people would see where you're at right now as the be all and end all. That's the dream. That's where they'll end up when they're 40 or 50 years old. You've achieved it quite young, and you still have that mindset of, okay, what's next? What are we going to keep doing? You mentioned as well, and we'll get into more detail about this topic, but it's something which is of great interest to me at the moment, which is spending money to make money, and that type of financial education. So when you were kind of putting money into these smaller ventures, these smaller businesses, what stopped you from spending that money on, whatever, clothes or, sweets or toys or games or whatever. Why and what made you realize that if I take this money and I buy more inventory, then I can sell more? It sounds simple, but that's quite.
It's always been in me from young, Nothing actually told me like, save your money and get this. Just back then, it was just like common sense. I don't know, like it's weird. It's because obviously, imagine you've just sold 5 sweets that you bought for 20p for £1. Why take that money and buy a Game Boy when I can just do the same thing tomorrow and buy the Game Boy and have the same money I had on monthly? Do you know what I mean? Like, and for me, same thing. Do you know when I started the recording studio, I actually didn't have any money then. So I actually just went and got a £3,000 loan, and I kind of worked it out that, okay, £3,000 over 3 years, this much a month. I need to do this many hours a month. I think I can do this many hours a month. And if I can't, I was still working for my uncle and stuff, just making my normal, £1,000 a month or whatever it was then.
Yeah, so that would cover it if necessary.
And I just thought, listen, I need something to do. So I used to work there 9 till 5 doing the computer sales for them. And then I used to finish at 5:30 and start at 6 till 11:30 at night doing the studio. And I knew if I make zero money that month, I'll just take it from my wages.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, I just never had that thing where, all right, you know what, I'll use my wages and I'll just go buy, this or buy that. I just thought I want to, I remember from young years, I always remember that I want to work as hard as I can now. So later on, I do want to stop working. I know that fact. If it's next year or if it's in 5 years, my goal was to not have a business that makes lots of money, but to have a business that I can have time to spend with a family that I eventually want to have, because my dad, and alhamdulillah, he's done well. But for part of 20-something years, he's hardly been at home because he's been working for us, for me, for my mum, for my sister. And there's nothing wrong with that because he had no choice to do that. But I feel like if I could set my own path, I'll try to aim towards work now, have the recording studio, sell the suite, sell the laptops from young, and just slowly, hopefully, I can work a little bit less in the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and again, something as you were talking, it made me realize something about not only yourself, but most people with a similar mindset to you, which is, a great level of respect and admiration for your parents and the work that they put in. But I think it's quite fair to say that people of our generation who do have this mindset would look at that work and be like, I don't want to work that hard. You know what I mean? I don't want to work that hard for that remuneration, for that reward. I want to work less and I want to make 10 times as much more. And the internet, for me, the way that I look at the internet is the same way that I would look at, and this might be a bit eccentric, but the same way that I look at most other inventions, like the wheel, for example. The wheel was created to make life easier for people to move from A to B. So in the similar way, the internet was created to help people communicate and therefore have, the MacBook itself. Steve Jobs, he created the MacBook, or the Macintosh at the time, in order for people to have an office at home and not need to go out. So the world has been evolving as we're growing up, leading to this point. And you already had that mindset of, okay, cool, I want to work hard. I don't mind working hard, but I want to have flexibility, and I want it to be at, a level where, if needs be, I can cut it off, and, I'll be good for, the next 50 years, next 100 years, because of the investments that you've also then been able to get into. So you had the recording studio, you had that for a couple of years. So now you're around about 20, I'm guessing, by the time that the recording studio is coming to an end.
20.
20, yeah. So this is also, so you mentioned you dropped out of college, and obviously I'm guessing that, based on that, you didn't go to university either. Was that Was there any pressure on you to go to university, or were you already generating enough money for yourselves, for other people to kind of have that trust in you that even if he doesn't go uni, we know that he'll make it in whatever he does?
Well, to be honest, I think obviously my family and that knew from young that I wasn't the best at school. Do you know what I mean? They knew, and they knew that they've never pressured me, to be fair, to say go to uni, go to college, because they've known I've always done something.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So even if I've never had my own business, I've gone to the takeaway and just sat in the car while they do deliveries. They've always made sure that I understand that there's work in the office, there's work to be done at home, even if it's just cleaning and hoovering. I'm always, do you know what I mean? You have to do something. And I think when I told them that, college, because when I had the studio, I was in college, you see. But when I was going to do my college work, I was reading about microphones and mixing desks, and I didn't care. Like I say, I knew for sure that I was studying media. I only went to college. I did the media course so I could learn how to film, so I could film, a promo video for the studio. And I thought, yeah, you know what? I'll do it. My mates are in college. I need to do something. But I wasn't making enough money then, definitely not to not go to university. But I knew that what I need to do in life, I don't need to go uni for.
Right. Okay.
I would do that because I don't need to be a doctor. I didn't want to be an accountant. Them sort of things, you do need to have a specific amount of knowledge in order to get. You can't, even if you've got £1 billion, you can't just go and become a doctor.
Yeah.
You have to have the license and the certificates, which you have to get from uni. Even if it's a private uni, then it's different. But left college, I knew uni wasn't for me. I started the recording studio full when I left college. I did do a music school. Do you like they teach you about microphones and all that? And I was into that. And I was good at that, to be fair. And I met a few friends from there as well. And that's when I decided, when I saw all these, I was working with equipment that was £500,000. And I was the youngest in the class. Everyone was around about 30 to 40 years old.
Wow.
Because it was like a niche thing then. It was called audio engineering. I passed a certificate to teach Pro Tools, which is a software which the pass rate on Pro Tools is like 95%, meaning you have to get 95% of the answers correct. So not many people pass it. And yeah, I was just into that. I left that. I was doing that.
Pass that? Did you pass Pro Tools?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Because at school you weren't getting the best grades, but when you had something that you're passionate about and you're interested in, then you're able to get all intents and purposes almost perfect mark.
Near enough perfect mark, because there's only a very low amount of people that pass that. They've made that course so hard that that's nothing to do with the course itself. It's a separate edition. So that means that, for example, let's say Sony are making a movie now and they need a Pro Tools instructor. I'm on the Pro Tools instructor's website that they can just pick from.
That's pretty sick. So what was your next venture? Where did you kind of take yourself after the recording studio?
Studio, and I was happy with the studio, and it came to the point that I was still in the basement, and I did make it really nice. I went from the £5 an hour all the way to £25-30 an hour. But I felt that it was my time was up. Like I don't fall in love with the business. That's the thing. You fall in love with what you do. Meaning, if you next year I might be selling coconuts. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like I just knew my time was up. Like, it wasn't that the business wasn't making money, because the business was making money, but I just knew that it was time for me to move into something else. So I sold that business. When I was doing the studio, I had a Mercedes.
You sold the businth?
Yeah. So I just got rid of it, basically. Just sold the stuff on to another engineer.
Okay, fine. Liquidated it, basically, yeah.
Yeah, just liquidated it. Didn't know anything then about selling a business. So
I was going to say, bro, 20 years old, selling your first business. That's pretty deep.
I just got rich. It didn't even come to mind. And I had customers and I had everything. It didn't come to Nobody teaches you this stuff. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely.
I did that. And at the time, though, I had an all right car. I had like a Mercedes C-Class. And you know, a guy that I knew through a friend was hiring cars out at the time. And I thought, I don't know, I liked cars. And a few of the rappers in the studio wanted to use my car for like music videos and stuff. I was just doing it for free. And then I started saying, like, give me £50, £100. And then even my friends were hiring cars through friends for weddings. And I thought, you know what? Maybe that's the next thing I could do. And I decided to go using my own car to just start renting it out.
Right.
That's when I started Aces. And, you know, that was self-drive hire back in the day. So that was just one car and just getting it out there. And then eventually it started to grow because I had my own business from young. When I was doing the studio, I learned about marketing, search engine optimization. I'm one of those people that I'll search how to get my business booming or how to make money. And I found out the words that people were using. And I'm one of them that I have to learn what that is. So if I'm going to pay you to design a logo for me, I need to learn how to design a logo so I know if you've done a good enough job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And I learned a lot about SEO, Google Ads, Facebook marketing. And that's when I thought, you know what? I could do the cars. I know I can get the market. Everyone was a lot older than me. And I was 21 when I started the cars. And I knew that I had friends of friends of friends. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And that started just to take off. Year one was just crazy. And once the good thing with cars is the CLA got so busy that I thought, all right, I'll just go to BMW. I'll put, $5,000 down on a car and my customers will pay the monthly.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. I took the money from my business and what I was making and put it in. I just started building.
That's pretty sick, man. I want to ask you, not necessarily where your mind was at that point, but actually, with the experiences that you have now, based on something that you said, you had the confidence to just go for it. A lot of people don't have confidence that, in putting money behind their business, putting money into their business for things like marketing, etc. Do you think that that's because they have, doubt over themselves and their business, or, is that a rational fear? And the other question I wanted to ask, which is a bit more, like The Secret and Law of Attraction, stuff like that. I don't necessarily subscribe to that in the same way, but I do understand that having a particular mindset will cause you to do certain actions and say certain things, which will then lead to certain results. But from your perspective, if there's people watching this who are thinking, I want to start something, I want to start my own business, but I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. What's your advice? What's your advice to those people?
Start it. What are you going to lose? What money comes and goes. It doesn't matter if it's $1,000 or $5,000. For example, obviously, I understand the people that, let's say, they have a family, they have kids, they have a wife, and they're the only money earner for the thing. But it's not hard to save up money. If you believe in your business, then you have to put money down. Otherwise, why is an investor going to put it down? But if somebody's sitting at home now thinking, I've got these designs, I want to start selling clothes online, but I don't know if I should. The thing is, you're going to live 30 years, 40 years, 50 years of your life thinking, well, if I did, I might have been somewhere else. But let's say the investment's 1,000 or 5,000, just do it. If you lose, then you can carry on working a 9 to 5. I tried. But if you don't try, you'll never get there. That's the thing. And I've never had that in my mind. That's it. So if I believe, you have to analyze. That's the main thing. You got to analyze the business, analyze the market. And the thing is, you don't learn until you try. And there's going to be people out there that are going to tell you there's too much competition. There's competitors. There's this, there's that. You can't do it. You've never done it. But the thing is, neither have they.
Yeah.
Those people that do it are the small percent that make it, guaranteed. The people that will say, you know what, today I'm going to start this business are the ones that in 5 years come out of that hole. But the ones that say, I don't know, or it's too much risk, it's too much this, then they're not. You have to risk it to in order to get there.
There's a saying that the ancient wise men used to say, which is no risk, no rizq. So I think that's a very wise thing to say. It's interesting. I've got a friend who he's 20. He's probably watching this right now. And mashallah, he's killing it. Like, very, very successful with his business. He's got his own software that he sells, and he's doing very, very well with it. And we were having a discussion in one of our WhatsApp groups, and we were talking about things like crypto and stocks and this, that, and the other. And he put it quite simply, and he said something so profound but so simple. He said the best investment of the last decade was in your own business.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Whether that was your time or your money, the best investment was in your own business, because 10 years is a long time to build a business and find your audience and find your niche and find your customer base. So, yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. And so you started off with the 1C class, and then that grew, and then you got a Beamer. At what point did you start hiring? At what point did you start needing to bring people on underneath you?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Back then, I didn't bring anybody on because I have a good friend circle. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's always been there to help out. No one's ever asked for money. If they ask for stuff, I don't ask for money. If they help me out, it's like that. And a lot of them were helping. They'd come, and I laid out the business that I wouldn't need, because I knew that I couldn't afford it at the time to pay someone underneath me to do it when I can do it. I just thought in the beginning I need to do as much as I can, so I learn the business, and save as much as I can so I can keep the business growing. If I needed that extra help, I'd ask for friends. If you can you come out at night and help me collect this vehicle? Can I sort you out? I'm going on holiday. Can you just look after it?
Yeah.
The main thing is just slowly growing. But like to the point you were saying earlier about people at home that have ideas and businesses, you have to have the mindset that you are going to make it. Like that's it. You are going to, because this idea is coming in your head. It must have been good enough for it to come in your head. You don't need anyone else's opinion. No one's there to help you. I'll be honest with you. Nobody, no matter what you say, is going to help you succeed. It has to be you and only you. Take opinions on people, but when it's your life decision, you need to decide that, what? Am I going to sit on this idea on a USB pen drive and just think and think and think? Or is there a clever way I could trial the business without spending the money then? Because if people's main fear is, I've got 10 grand in my savings, but that's my savings. I've got a family, I've got kids. And let's say they want to start a clothes business, then why can't they do drop shipping? Why can't they sell the product, get the money from the customer, and then ship the product? Do you know what I mean? There's ways around every business, but the ones that, and I don't want to sound like negative or anything, but the ones that are saying, I'm unsure, I don't know if I should do it, they're not there yet. They're not confident enough in themselves that they can make it happen. And they get drowned by all these superior people saying, no, you have to know people, you need connections. You can't do it. But the truth is, anybody can do it. I believe, obviously I'm Muslim, so I believe that it's written, whatever you're going to make, you're going to make. So if it's written for you to make £5 million,
you're going to make it regardless. Yeah.
If it's cleaning up rubbish for the council, or if it's quitting and starting your own business. So if you truly believe in that, then quit and start your business, because it's going to come either way. Everything happens for a reason. I've had points in my life that, I've done stuff, I've lost money. I'm not gone there, but I've never sat down and thought, let's just stop, because I had the studio. It did well, but it didn't make crazy money. I closed the studio. I did a bit of photography, for not for weddings, but for like birthdays, £50, £60. That didn't do well. I've probably gone through like 10 businesses in this point, but I've got that mindset that I want to do something, but I don't know what, but I know, and I can't work for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in myself that I can make it happen. That makes sense.
You know, you hit the nail on the head in terms of, you know, my brand, No Risk, No Rizq. That's really the message that you know, we're trying to get out to people is to have tawakkul in Allah, to have that trust in Allah that He's going to provide for you from ways which we don't even realize. And regardless of whether we do something halal or haram, or we work for someone else, or we work for ourselves, what's written for us is always going to come to us, and Allah's the provider. So no, that's very reassuring, and I suppose very for a lot of people, you know, when they go to the mosque and they hear sermons and they hear these things, generally speaking, you know, the people aren't into business. You know, that's why they're imams. You know, they're very spiritual, and I think for our generation and younger, they need to see evidence from someone. You know what I mean? They need a role model where they can point and say, all right, look, you know, Aleem, he's doing it, he believes in it, he said just go for it, and I shouldn't have my doubts, you know, and I'm going to go for it. So, you know, I think it's really powerful what you said there. In terms of this business then, because like I said, when we were chilling and stuff, there were people coming up to you. So tell me a bit about the YouTube side of things. When did that come into it? And that was focused on your cars as well, wasn't it? That was on the car hire.
Well, obviously I've done, to be honest, even on the YouTube, I've not showed this part of what you're about to show later. Mm-hmm. People only know me through the cars, and obviously I started to do a bit of YouTube because I'm into, like, not necessarily eating somewhere expensive, but like I just enjoy eating out. I enjoy doing, you know, we go on holidays, if it's £200 holidays or £500 holidays, you know, we like to do golf, sports, just anything. The circle that I'm in, we're just down for whatever it is. And, you know, I thought, you know what, a lot of people at home were liking some of the Snapchats that I was doing. And they'll always message me saying, oh, I'm going on a date with my wife. Could you give me a recommendation for food?
Right, okay.
and you know, I thought, I'm not going to open the YouTube to show off, because I didn't show the cars. I didn't show my business. I didn't show what I am, who I am. I've not said nothing. Only thing I just started to do on the side is just be with my friends and just do the things that we do. If it's travel, just show people. Just something to watch, you know what I mean? I didn't do it to make money. I just did it because it's something I like to do.
Yeah. But it seems like you got pretty successful with it, though, because like I said, we were in London and there's people coming up to you and like, yo, what's going on? Where are your videos? You know, they're still asking you to this day, like, where are your videos?
Yeah, it was going well, because on Instagram, I built the Instagram from foundation up. So it wasn't the YouTube that made it; it was the Instagram.
Right. Okay.
I was always very active on Instagram. You know, people like to watch videos of expensive cars or hiring, and I was always showing everything. For example, like when we're doing coronation sets or celebrity music videos, and then I decided to kind of show who I am. If that makes sense. Because nobody actually knew who the owner of Aces was, and then I started the page to show my normal. But then I thought, you know what, why don't I take it to YouTube? And I was meant to take it a bit further, but to be fair, I got sidetracked with some work, and I'm hoping obviously after this quarantine stuff ends, to actually take it to a new level, hopefully.
No, that's cool. I think you know, what you're saying is really cool as well, because it's like you're not going out of your way to do any of your recording. It's like, you know, I want to go eat, I want to try this out, let's record it, let's do like a little review, let's do a challenge, or if we go on holiday, let's record it. So that's really cool. It's part, one of the things that actually I can tell from you, Aleem, is, I don't know if you've heard of the term ikigai, but it's a Japanese term which basically, how do I define this? It basically just means living with a purpose. Right. And everything in your life is congruent with everything else. So, for example, you know, something that would be incongruent would be, you know, as a Muslim, you're a practicing Muslim, but then you're selling alcohol. You know what I mean? You'll always go to bed at night thinking like, should I be doing this or not? You know what I mean? And it seems like you're someone who when you put your head down on the pillow, you want to put your head down on the pillow and be content and peaceful with the day that you've just had, and know that everything that you've done, you put in 100%, it was halal. And, you know, you gave all your effort. That's kind of, is would you say that's
that's the day for me? There's no such thing as, oh, I've not worked too hard, I've not worked too thingy. All I know is whatever time of the day it is, I'm always doing something. You know, if I'm not working, for example, some people might see an Instagram now, and let's say at 2 p.m. I could be cycling or something, and people will think, oh, you know what, he's got it easy, him. But they don't know at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm doing business meetings with China till 4 in the morning, sorting stuff out. And that's the thing. A lot of people, the thing that I don't want to give the wrong message is, you know, when you see these lifestyle videos and vlogs of the good stuff, there's also the work that goes behind it. It's not true that, you know, a lot of people say, okay, make 150 grand in a week from home and go on holidays all the time, but you can't do that. No. Like, you know, there maybe is some people that invested in stocks and stuff that maybe can do that, but for the majority of businesses, there's work that needs to be put in. And a lot of people that don't have businesses will get a business for that end goal. Yeah. And that's the reason why a lot of them fail. Because when they realize that, oh, wait a minute, I've not made no money this week, and I've had to do loads of paperwork, and I've just spent all day searching what Google Ads is, they don't see that side of a business, and they just think, I want to be an entrepreneur because this guy is making good money, he's got staff, and he's just sitting at home chilling. Yeah, that's the wrong reason to become an entrepreneur. To become an entrepreneur is to do something that you believe in, that you love doing, and you're willing to work. If it's 24 hours a day or 10 hours in the day, you know, you've got to have that faith behind it.
Absolutely. You know what? It's really interesting because when you're saying that, you know, a lot of people will think, you know what, you know, life isn't all about working and stuff like that. But, you know, even with what I'm doing, like right now, we're working on the new collection. Yeah. We're working on the launch for that. And, you know, this lockdown, this quarantine period for me, I haven't worked as hard as I have outside of this time, you know, because I don't have any excuses. You know what I mean? I don't even have this excuse of like, oh, I'm going to go chill here. I'm going to see this person. I can't go nowhere. You know what I mean? So the work that I'm putting in is like 10, 12, 13, 14 hours a day, but it just goes so quickly because it's all for me. It's all for my brand, you know, which is going to pay off for me in the next 10, 15, 20 years time. You know what I mean? And it's something that I enjoy doing as well.
See what you're doing now? You should be able to do that all year round. Because you got 24 hours in a day. 100%. Let's say 9 to 5, you're at Aldi, 6 to 8, do your podcast, and 8 till 9, you know, and that's the thing where a lot of people miss out. So, you know, everyone's got the same 24 hours, but people will be like, right, by the time I finished work, by the time I've played Call of Duty, it's bedtime. Just get rid of Call of Duty for a bit. Put something in the middle of your day, because people just assume that it's 9 to 5. We work 9 to 5. Doesn't work like that, you know. If you have a dream, like let's say you want to make these podcasts and stuff, you're willing to do the podcast at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Like you says to me today, you know, whenever you want. If you just says to me, hey, only between 9 and 5, maybe I was working 9 and 5. It wouldn't make this happen. So it's just one of those things.
100%. I want to kind of not fast forward because there's definitely going to be some sort of overlap, but you know, I want to get into kind of the online side of things now because cool. I think that's what's going to be of most interest to people, and it's what you're currently doing now. So you were running the car hire business. Again, I can probably guess that there was something inside of you saying, is this me now for the rest of my life, or do I need to do something else? So tell me about that transition. Actually, are you still running the Ace Cars Hire, or is that you are? Okay, cool.
So basically, the computers was kind of just before the cars. So in between the studio transition to things. Bear in mind,
right.
I was working for my uncle doing computers.
Yeah.
During this time when I set up the cars, I slowly got into computers a bit more. But the reason when I kind of invested in the cars 2 years ago was that when I was doing computers, I realized that I don't need this much what I'm doing now. The amount of hours I'm working, a few years down the line, I need to cut it down. But the business that I'm in now, like you says, it's nighttime, it's daytime, it's this, it's that. And for me, at my point of life now, I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I decided, analyze the car business is the one that I'm going to put everything into later on. And it's something that I can leave for somebody that can run it no problem. computers might not be someone knows numbers and this, that, and contacts. It's a hard business to be in.
Yeah.
Whereas I could just say to you, Riz, here's the telephone. Here's the reception is doing their thing. The drivers are doing their thing. Just answer the phone. That's it. And that's something I know I can leave, I can build. And that is a long goal that I'm working on slowly. But yeah, like you said, the online stuff, I started to think, you know what? I want to do something, make use of what my uncle's got access to, and try and make something online. He was only in a local area called Stretford, and he was just doing laptop sales local. Right. And I was like, listen, we've got online, we've got eBay, we've got Amazon, and I decided I wanted to do that. Now, them times I was selling like one laptop a day, like 5 computers a week. And I started to research about eBay's algorithm, marketing. And I just decided, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to build a computer brand, a computer company. And I went straight into that. And, the cars is on the side. It's running itself. I don't need to be there. Don't need to do anything. And this is where I thought, you know what, probably 3 years ago, I'm 26 now. It's probably when I was 22, 23, I decided, right, I'm going to put 100% into this, and I'm just going to smash it, inshallah, hopefully.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
So you started that about 3 years ago.
Yeah, like properly 3 years ago. Obviously, I've been doing the laptop since. Yeah. But
so you were kind of in the game from before, but 3 years ago is when you pivoted to digital. Then that's when you were like, let's sell online as our channel. So that transition then. So you said you were selling a laptop a day, which, to be honest, for most intents and purposes, that's still good money. That most people could live full-time income off of just a laptop a day. That obviously grew. What kind of rate was that growing at? Was it an exponential curve? Was it growing slowly and it shot up this year? Or how did it grow for you?
What I realized was, if you just go and sell online, it's just going to be like this. Maybe like that, maybe, but you have to learn. And selling online, you'd be surprised. It's got nothing to do with the product and the thing. It's to do with the algorithm or the website of what you're selling and what you're selling on and why you're selling it. So I started to read about, why am I selling one a day, but someone's selling 200 a day? What's the difference between me and what's the difference between him? And when I started digging, and I mean digging, it might took me 2 years, obviously, to get from that point to this point. And I'm still learning, obviously. And I realized that there's a lot more into selling online and, details of algorithms and how eBay rates its things. Because if there's 1,000 people selling, this calculator, for example, why me over you?
The
same price. And eBay's algorithm works on your sales record, this return rate, this feedback. And I started to learn about that. And when I started to actually put my time into not the selling, but into the research, it just went straight up. Literally, it went from, maybe $5,000 a month, and then in 2 years, or in about 1 year to 2 years, it hit $500,000 a month on average, and that was within 1 to 2 years of me putting 100% in. And alhamdulillah, it's still growing.
Is that where you're at now, about $500,000 a month at the moment?
Yeah.
And is that your eBay? Is that just the eBay business, or is that the computer business as a whole? Just eBay. Okay, cool. So in the last 3 years, you've gone from 0 online to $500,000 a year. My question. Sorry. Oh, sorry, $500,000 a month, bro. I couldn't comprehend those numbers for a second. To $500,000 a month. How did that affect you personally, having that much money? Because I'm sure this is your first business that you've had, which has given you this level of finance, right? So how did that affect you personally in all ways?
I'll be honest with you, it's the same from when I was in year 7.
Okay.
All the money's back in the business. Like, I was going to ask you if I could borrow some money tonight. Like, I'll be honest with you, since the growth of the company and where it's going, I've seen, I'm not one of those type of people that, I need to go out and buy more than I need, for example. I'll buy what I like. If I like something, then I'll buy it because, you know, I like it, for example. But the majority of the money from the eBay and everything has gone straight back in. If we make £500,000, £500,000 goes straight back into next month. And, you know, from selling I was obviously I've gone from selling the computers to selling gaming products, which were like refurbished computers, buying a case from somewhere, buying the graphics card from somewhere. And then this year, what I've been working on, which I was meant to fly to China in March, and obviously it's good that I didn't. But I've set up a factory there now, so I can manufacture my own everything, basically.
Wow.
And that's already set up. So I've got a container coming in 1 week, and that this year hopefully should raise the sales by nearly double, because I'll be able to sell to all my competitors, and undercut the people that they're buying the cases and the parts from, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You're becoming the supplier now.
Yeah.
That's levels. How did you get that set up in China? Because actually, first thing is how did you first start dealing with the Chinese? Because bro, they are a tricky bunch of people. I'm not being racist, but they are on their money. They will send you. I've heard of stories recently where someone bought face masks from China and they got sent cut up bras. The bra was cut in half, and you know what I mean. So how did you?
Well, six grey hairs later, something. I promise you, that's what it is. That's what business does to you. It's not all, sunshine. But with China, it's probably took me a good year, because the thing is, obviously I was meant to go down there, but I couldn't. So I had to do a lot online, because I was also still at the point like, right, what do I do? Like, how do I actually manufacture? Because that's a completely different business to selling someone else's product online, for example. And I didn't have a clue, like, to be honest. And I just went online and I was searching. and you know what? I'll tell you. So the guy, do you know what a gaming case is, right? It's the case. So I buy them from a guy. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll search as much online to find his supplier, his factory, how he does it, etc. And 6 months down the line, you know, people just messing you about. Oh, it's going to cost this much. And I was saying, well, I'm buying it from the UK for cheaper. So how is it going to cost me more? And, you know, some people, what they do is they're like quadruple middlemen. So in China, the guys that are the main people, they don't speak English. Now, what you get is you get people that study English in China and they become middlemen. And they're the ones that control how much they make. But you have to cut from them and find the factory. But the factory don't talk to you unless you're Chinese, or unless you're there and you can speak to him, because you can't just go get a hold of someone's boss. Like, it's and I managed just to do a lot of research and stuff like that, and I managed to find a contact over there. And I said to him, look, he's just a worker. This guy, he's literally just a worker. He probably earns like £1,000 a month, £500 a month. I said to him, listen, I'm doing quite well here. I don't have the time right now, because I've just lost 6 months of trying to do this thing. I need you to find me a factory in China, and I promise I will let you handle everything. And I will give you good commission. I said to him, look, I sent him videos and pictures of the warehouse where I'm at here. And, you know, he did his grafting. He managed to find me a factory that are willing to sell, because the other thing is these companies have exclusive rights in the UK that you can't just go. And even if you find a factory, you can't even just go and buy that stuff. So what I had to do is I had to get my own design made from scratch, my own mold, engineered, everything, sent to the factory. And then you've got to order like a full container as well. And I was just like, is it worth it? But like it says, for me, I was just like, I don't want to live 5 years thinking, what if I did it? And I thought, you know what? I want to set this up. Get your own warehouse there. Find a place you can store the stuff. I'll sort you the commission. Let's make the lights. Let's make the RAM. Let's make the hard drives, and just start shipping them to me. And alhamdulillah, the first shipment's coming in 2 weeks.
Inshallah, man. Hope that goes well for you, man. Yeah. So I want to. I think if we kind of look at this now for the next like 20 minutes or so, just to kind of wrap things up, but just to kind of put a full stop on it for this discussion, because honestly, bro, there's so many things that we could probably speak about, but time is very limited. We were speaking about I think on your Instagram post as well that you put up that a lot of people always ask you about, can you make money online and all this type of stuff, and quite clearly, you can make money online. People can make money online, and we were having this discussion the other day about people who sell these courses and people who buy these courses and people who try to go online. What's your take on the online scene? What's your take on online entrepreneurship in general? And what advice do you have for people who do want to create a business for themselves online?
Well, personally, when I've looked at these courses, a lot of them are they don't give you the secret. Do you know what I mean? They just tell you the basics of business, buy a product, thingy, Amazon, show you this. And you're buying these courses and they're saying, look, work from home, use our stock signals and our flares, and, you're going to make hundreds of thousands. And a lot of them seem like they're blowing it up out of proportion, I think. They're just trying to... Why are they doing... I'll give you an example. Videoing a course and writing a course takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
The time it takes them to do that, why are they not making £500,000? Like, why are they even thinking about making a course? Obviously, writing a book and stuff like that's different. But if you look into these guys, that a lot of people that do the courses, they're not making big money. They might be making a bit of money, but they're the ones that think, you know what, I'm doing okay. And how about we just start selling this online course, £10 a month? And they make more money from the courses than they do from their actual income. And that's fair enough, that's something they decided to go down. But personally, I think people watch the courses, pay for the courses, learn about people's businesses. End of the day, it's good to have someone show you something. So if I was to do a course now, I'd maybe do a course and show somebody, if I was doing it for free, what eBay is, how to find and source an item. And that's good stuff that will save you hundreds of hours of research. So, but they're not going to give you the link to their supplier. They're not giving you the actual info you need to do it. They're just kind of helping you understand maybe eBay's software of selling, maybe fees. Because a lot of people think, you know what, I just found this item from China for £5. I can sell it on eBay, but what about the fees from PayPal, the fees from eBay, the VAT, if you become VAT registered, for example. So my personal opinion is watch the courses, but don't just follow the course. Like, if somebody says, right, you need to do this, just don't do that. Take the knowledge in and apply it to your game. Do you know what I mean? So all the courses, and then you need to make the decision of how you're going to get there. So you're going to say, right, Aleem did his money by doing this style. Riz made his money by doing this style. I'm taking Aleem's and Riz's together and doing what none of them did and going down the middle. Do you know what I mean? So personally, take the course, do the course, but don't just fully believe in the course itself. Just take it more as a learning curve and a bit of knowledge, but know that you're not going to make 100 grand that week.
Yeah. I think something else that, I've seen in some of these courses that I've watched as well is a lot of the time they will put a lot of effort into the marketing of the course to get you in, and they make the courses so long that, by the time you've passed that 30-day refund period, you realize that actually this is rubbish. This isn't actually telling me what I need to know. You know what I mean? So, it is a really, really tricky thing to do. But like you said, most of these people, what they're really good for is just showing you the model rather than, how to perfect it. You know what I mean? So it's probably best you save your 3-4 grand and, go onto YouTube like you did, or Google like, you know what I mean?
Or why are you going to spend 4 grand having someone show you how to do it? Spend the 4 grand and start the business. Yeah, exactly. So, no, I mean, like, use that 4 grand to actually start.
To invest, to invest, and you learn that way. You know what I mean? You're learning through the trial.
Learn through your mistakes. 100%. At least you know it's gonna get you there. And for me, the thing is, like I said, they don't show you A to B like what you need to know. No one's gonna say, right, listen, guys, give us $5,000. I'm going to tell you my supplier. I'm going to tell you where to sell on.
Yeah.
That's it. They just say, listen, you've got to go find somebody that's going to do that for you. And that's why I was talking to you about giving people that are watching this an opportunity that maybe could make them a lot of money. Maybe they try it and they realize, it's not for me. And hopefully people are into it.
Yeah, so just to get onto that point then, so when we were speaking, I said to you, yo, Aleem, bro, like you made like 150 bags in like, the first few days of quarantine. You're like, bro, that's nothing, that's like one part of this computer business. You mentioned that you've got your own manufacturing, your own factory that you've set up now in China. So what is your main core business? And then following that, obviously, you mentioned that there's possibly an opportunity for people who are watching this, regardless of age. It doesn't matter what age they are. It doesn't matter what sex they are. It doesn't matter about anything, really. It just matters about whether a person actually wants to make some money or not. So I think it'd be good if you kind of talk a little bit about, what that core business is of yours, and then follow that up with kind of how people can make some money this lockdown.
So the core business that we do at the moment is exporting computers. So I buy, for example, let's say from big recycling companies, sell it abroad. I started to take the good stuff out of that and set up the eBay on the side. And now the eBay is kind of, when it was like this before, that export was up here and eBay was down here, it's kind of gone like, even it's taken over it, for example. And it just shows how much online direct to consumer can actually do. Now, the thing that I don't actually do right now is I don't sell trade. So all of my gaming stuff is literally buy from me. Only way you can buy it is eBay. A lot of people are buying the stuff from eBay and then reselling it on, or buying trade items from us. So the opportunity that I was going to say to you is, let's say somebody's watching this and they don't have any ideas. They have a decent job, but they think, you know what, why can't I do something on the side and maybe try selling computers on eBay, Gumtree, Amazon, Instagram? And I was going to say, look, the main thing for people setting up a business is having the money to do it. And that's what they don't want to spend. So I was willing to offer people a chance that forget the money of it. I'll give you the product. You just need to find a customer. If you can get out of your seat from home and find the customer, you're going to make money. I guarantee you're going to make money. If you can just go find one person that buys IT equipment, so go to your local computer shop once the quarantine's over, say to the guy, I'm going to beat the price you get from your supplier. I just want to know what's your hot seller. Write it on a sticky note. Send me an email. I guarantee to beat his price. You guys just put a couple pounds on and start selling to that guy. If that guy's selling 100 computers a week and you've put £2 on, you're making £200 a week for actually doing nothing. That is making money from home, not doing anything. Because that guy's going to call you. You're going to call me. I'm going to say, right, get him to transfer you the money and you transfer me the money. Yeah. And I'll post it to him next day delivery and done.
Yeah, I think that's to be honest, a very, very special opportunity and a special offer that people can take advantage of. I was reading today that unemployment's going to almost triple in the next in the next 12 months at least. I think an opportunity like this to actually make money. This is making money from nothing. This is making money from your time.
Nothing.
You know what I mean? You're picking up the phone.
There's zero risk involved. If anybody wants to right now, they can literally go on Instagram, make a random name, put some pictures up, and if it starts sending it out to people, when it sells, I guarantee to give you the price that the distributors can't even give you when you buy £100,000 worth of the stuff. You'll get it for cheap. And obviously down the line, if you obviously start selling and doing well, we can obviously negotiate how we can do it properly. But to get in the game, to show you that you could actually do it, I'm willing to say, you know what? I'm giving you the price as if you were buying 100 of these. So it's not the case that, let's say I give you this price and then you come a few months down the line and say, listen, I want 100 of these now. It's going to be the same price because, you know what I mean? I'm giving you. But seriously, if somebody's at home and they think, you know what, I like computers, or I want to do a business from home, I'm unemployed or I'm employed, the only thing you need to do is find the customer. Let it be Instagram, Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, all your local friends. Where do your friends buy computers? Right now, they'll buy it from somebody that will buy from someone that we sold a lot to, for example.
Yeah.
So why can't you be the guy that everybody goes for computers? Obviously, you need to do the research and learn, because I won't have the time to say, right, somebody says, I want to play GTA on a computer. You know, it's not for me to say, right, this computer plays GTA. You guys need to put a bit of research in and stuff and learn about the market. But I guarantee you to give you the product at a low price with no risks, just so you can have some faith in yourself that you can do something.
So it's almost a bit like drop shipping computers, in essence, where you are the supplier is here in the UK, and it's going to be cheaper than what other suppliers will be able to get, because they're probably getting it from you anyway. So so it makes complete sense. And so literally all they need to do is speak to people who sell computers, find out what their best sellers are, or find out what products that they're in the market for, get specifications of all of those things, and then just shoot across to you, and you'll give them a price.
Yeah, exactly. And then hopefully they can make that price meet in the middle, and that's it. And what they need to bear in mind is, which I'll help them out with, when you go to somebody, say, what you paying? He's going to say a completely different price. When it comes to me, I'll be able to tell you, listen, like, he's probably paying about £75, and I'm going to give it you for about £70. If the guy's really busy and doing well, it's tighter margins because he's buying more stock. That's how wholesale works. When you sell to consumer, you make that £20-30. When you sell wholesale, you need to make less margin. Numbers.
Scale. Yeah.
So it's not about being greedy and making 20 quid, because he might say no and you've lost your opportunity with him forever. But if you can score one guy who has a full business selling this stuff, you could literally sit from home and do nothing for the next year, apart from making folk answering his call and calling me, and that's it.
Yeah. Actually, I just wanted to make a quick disclaimer, actually, because earlier I said that you've made this much money through lockdown. I just want to make it clear. Obviously, we were speaking about computers. Aleem didn't sell face masks and all that type of stuff. And make crazy amount of money for no reason. It was actually because you're working with computers. It's because everyone started to work from home that everyone was buying monitors and keyboards and all that type of stuff, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is, the average we do all year without Corona is about 500,000 a month. But when it hit that Corona side, everybody started working from home. So when someone would get a birthday present as a bike, they're getting a computer instead, a gaming computer. Or let's say an office has sent 60 people home, they need 60 monitors at home. And that's what's caused it to go from like 500,000 a month to like 250,000 a week. Do you know what I mean? So it's gone more than that. But this is for people that don't need to think, right, it's only during this COVID time. It's like all year round, and you can make.
Absolutely. No, I was just going to say, sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say that I think that what coronavirus has done is it's completely changed society now. And I think more, the whole culture of working is going to be that everyone will have, an office up in their house anyway now. You know what I mean?
Just so it's ready, basically. And that's the thing. So you can work from home, but look, you're working from home, you're putting the work in. And just a quick message to anyone who is like, the main thing of doing this podcast was for somebody who's not got the money right now, who has an ambition, a dream that, I want to be this. I want to be the biggest car company. I want to be the biggest this. You just need to do it. Don't listen to your friends or your family, or you believe in yourself that you have honestly got a good idea and you want to try it, then you try it. And the only thing you're going to lose is a bit of time and money, which you've got plenty of to get in the future. Cut down on your normal expenditure. If you're spending £200 a month going out to eat, stop that £200 and put that into your business. And, inshallah, hopefully it will take off. But if you live the rest of your life thinking, why didn't I do that when I was 25 years old? you're going to remain there. And then those small percent of people that actually believe in themselves will make it. And it's literally, it's just one of them.
100%, man, 100%. And just to kind of end things, just to put things into perspective, I forgot to ask you, your car company, how many cars do you have at the moment, and what type of cars do you?
5 cars now. We only do Rolls Royces at the moment because I went out of the self-drive hire market.
Yeah.
I went into the Rolls Royce hire market, and it's only chauffeur driven. But the reason I did that transition again was the self-drive hire takes a lot of time, takes a lot of headache, a lot of stress. But the chauffeur side of the business is quite nice, to be fair, and that's why I set that up. You'll find that, let's say you started your clothing line now, you're doing well. In 1 year's time, you might get an opportunity to do something else. And if you're being an entrepreneur, you just need to take that opportunity and say, you know what, I'm moving into this. Don't fall in love with where you're at. If it's a level, just, change up, try something else, just keep going.
No, I thought it was funny that you were justifying why you've only got 5 Rolls Royces. You know what I mean? At 26, got 5 Rolls Royces, mashallah. And I think that's an amazing achievement for most people to end it there. But like you said, that's not where you ended. You constantly evolved that business from one business model to the next business model. And not only did you do that, but then you also ran a completely separate business model, which is now taken over completely in terms of your your financial kind of income that's coming in. And yeah, to be honest, Aleem, I think this has been extremely inspirational for a lot of people. Some of the things that you've said has really cut through a lot of the kind of the bullshit that a lot of people talk online. And also, I think, as a Muslim, you've given a very positive message that, trust Allah, have that trust in Allah. He's put these ideas into your head, or at least these ideas are in your head and they're good ideas for a particular reason. You know what I mean? And you've got to trust yourself. You've got to back yourself, and you've got to, invest in your business. And if you do that consistently and you're learning, you're going to make it.
And you know what we'll do just before we leave it off? If there's something that we haven't, let's say someone's watched this and they feel like, well, you've not given me this or told me that, then drop a comment. Me and you will look over it, and I will try to reply to everyone. Literally, 100%. You just say to us, right, I've got this business. I'm scared of this. I want to do this, even if it's a DM to you or whatever. And I'll try answer as many of them as I can, just to kind of give you a direct consumer advice for what you should be doing. And I think that'll be good for people.
Absolutely. So everybody who is watching this right now, I want you guys to leave a comment if you've got any questions related to business. Leave that. What we can do is we can set up like an Instagram live or a YouTube live or something like that. We can set something out to get that answered.
Just drop the comments in and we'll answer them all.
100%. And then in terms of getting in contact with you for the kind of the wholesale side of things, what I would ask is if everyone goes to the No Risk, No Rizq website, leave your email address in there, and I'll make a note of anyone who signs up and registers from the 18th onwards. And then what we'll do is we'll pass them across to you, Aleem, and then you guys can have a conversation about that. But, again, anyone who's listening to this, if you're in furlough right now, or if you're working and you've realized that, I don't really want to keep working for someone else anymore, I want to do something for myself, and you're just a bit unsure as to what to do, Aleem's very generously given a huge opportunity for you to pretty much make whatever amount of money you want to make. You know what I mean? Like, however hard you want to work at this, the opportunity is there for you. Your supplier is not in China. Your supplier is, you're probably watching him right now. And he's very easy to get a hold of. So anybody who's interested in that, in making some money, drop your email address into the pop-up that comes up onto the website. Details will be in the link below. But I'll also obviously tag Aleem's details in the description as well. Make sure you all go follow him. Very, very inspirational Instagram, from your story to your pictures, etc. So Aleem, man, thanks so much for your time, bro. I know just to give some context, because you kind of dropped it in the middle without being too obvious about it. But for everyone who's watching, Aleem did I think it was 70k bike ride last night. Was it?
Yeah.
You did a 70 kilometer. I think it was 2.5 hours you did or something like that, right?
Yeah.
70k
Crazy.
bike ride, and then you were up till 4 sorting out your Chinese suppliers. So, for everyone who thinks that you can work passively and you don't need to put in work and whatever, this is more than a full-time gig. This is literally your entire life, and I think seeing someone like yourself who at such a young age, mashallah, 26, and you've accrued such financial independence is very, very inspirational, and it's very motivational as well. Once you have these numbers and you've seen that someone else can do it, it's very easy for you to then stretch your mind and figure out how I can do it as well.
And the main thing, even for this, rather than people just watching this, and like I said, even if they're not interested in the computer thing, but they have, like I says, leave a comment, whatever you want to know, even if it's direct as, I want to sell the masks, where can I get it from? And I will honestly not tell you exactly what to do, but I'll explain to you, listen, all you need to do is try this. And I'll, the main thing is, if we can get 5 or 10 people out of this actually starting a business, and this wasn't enough to kind of motivate them, then drop a comment on exactly what you're lacking. And even if you have a current business that you want to take it to new heights, and you've looked into Google advertising, but you're scared of it, drop a comment. I'll explain exactly how click-per rates work, conversions work, and everything you need to know.
Smashed it, Aleem. Thanks so much for your time, man. Everyone who's watching, highly recommend that you reach out to this guy and you pick his brain. There's a lot that you can learn from him. So once again, Aleem, thanks so much for your time, bro.
Thanks for having me.
No, pleasure, bro. And we definitely need to link up soon. We were probably going to link up at the boxing again, but the lockdown messed that up. But inshallah, hopefully.
Soon.
Yeah, definitely, man. Inshallah, hopefully this summer, once everything's sorted out, we can sort something out, man. So thanks so much for your time, bro. And speak to you soon, man. Take care.
See you in a bit, bro.